In our news bulletin for this evening, airport security upgraded with the installation of CCTV cameras and new ID card accessibility. Plans are in motion to host the 4th Niue Arts and Cultural Festival in April with some minor changes. More than 30 local businesses have been nominated and are vying for the top prizes in the upcoming Niue Business Awards. Security at the Hainan International Airport Terminal is being boosted with the installation of CCTV cameras and swipe card accessibility. Developments at the airport have seen several changes over the years to the layouts and with some extensions and renovation upgrades. This latest project is a welcomed addition to monitor security at the airport and is supported by Aviation Security New Zealand. Previous operations had limited capabilities to monitor access to the airport terminal, but this will prove to be a better system.
It's just a better system. We need to come up with a system where we could probably say monitor who goes in and out of the airport, and which is a major concern for us here in Niue. One is that we don't have all the keys to the airport. Two, there's different locking systems. And three, how do we know that you're in there for a purpose or you're in there as a breach of security? So we've come up with the idea of putting access locks in there. What these access locks will do is that the police will give access numbers to those who work in the airport, so they no longer will be able to enter the airport from any angles of the airport, rather coming through with a swipe card. So those numbers will be logged in by the officers, and they will have that swipe card for them, with them during the process. So it's a really good system. The system will be able to tell us whether the person's ID is valid, because the system will go with the valid ID. So if your ID is expired, same time as the access number code will be expired. So that gives us a good indication of monitoring who comes in and out of the airport. The system is operated by battery as well. It's got a battery life of 5 to 6 hours when the power shuts down. But knowing that our system here at the airport, we're pending on the generator coming up once the power goes off. So we're hoping that there's not complicated with the power failure, but we have battery life to support the unit when it goes down.
Chief of Police Tony Edwards says that there will always be Niue police staff on hand monitoring all activity at the airport via CCTV cameras within a central operating office at the airport. In addition, all footage will be backed up and can be reviewed for official purposes. Niue police staff will be trained this week on CCTV monitoring to ensure that there is no breach from landside to airside operations at the airport. This latest improvement is part of meeting international civil aviation standard requirements, and the new system will go through its first operation this week on Saturday to test its capabilities and improve security at the airport. Niue is gearing up to host the 4th Niue Arts and Cultural Festival in April, and the organising committee are hoping to revitalise the festival activities and generate more participation. The biennial festival was initiated in 2009, built on a concept to strengthen ties between Niueans to return to their roots and celebrate Niuean cultural heritage and arts. Niue Tourism Events Manager Ola Jacobson says that they're looking to add a bit of a twist to some of the existing programs and activities.
We've, as a committee, come up with some ideas that we can get back to the old school, like Liolo, Matalave, Kofkofe, Halamahanga, and get into those teams and come up with the sports, the traditional sports that we used to do, like the ball relay, the sikaka race, sikaka kapikola, and heketome, and just the traditional Niuean sports that were used to be involved in those schools back then. A little twist to the charity auction that usually is on during the festival, and we've taken it and turned it into a Niue-made masquerade ball, charity auction ball, and that is for people to have the opportunity to also come through and bid on some of the auction goods that we have up for auctioning, and also to dress up in a mask made with Niuean products or made with Niuean materials and that. So that, hence the reason why it's called the Niuean Made Masquerade Ball and charity auction.
There will be some slight changes to activities, but the basic layout will still include workshops, a fashion show, poetry recitals, amongst other things. Each festival is based on a theme that is incorporated into the festival program, and this time round it's about Niuean identity. Who am I? Rethink, renew and reclaim.
It's also to revitalise the way that we used to remember things, how it used to be back then. So hence the reason why some of the old get-together of the school concept came about, to go back and just remember how much fun it was to be in those old schools and thing, and not having to have that centralised feeling like we are now. You know, given that we're being centralised in the schools, it's having that pride of your village or your area, having pride of being a Niuean, and also taking pride in our culture and our traditions. You know, reclaiming what's ours as Niueans, taking what we used to know was our traditions and refostering those traditions back to who we are, identifying with our culture, identifying with our history, and becoming much stronger in the fact that we need to build up our understanding in our traditions and our culture, and especially in a country where now we've got a lot of other cultures added into our mix. So it's identifying who am I, what am I as a Niuean.
Previous festivals have managed to attract more interest with different groups arriving each time.
We have a group coming from the Torres Straits. So these are the descendants of those who had left Niue a very, very long time ago, around the time probably of the trade slaves, or, we're not too sure where they came from, but given that they have the opportunity to come here, maybe they can tell us how they got to where they are, how those descendants became to know where Niue is, and also strengthening their ties back to the origins of their forefathers. The festival opens up the opportunity to strengthen ties between those living here and those living in New Zealand, Australia, and wherever else in the world. But it's also to bring back that pride of tangata Niue, I'm Niuean, I need to go back home, I need to learn, the things that identify me as Niuean, and how I can, contribute as a Niuean to how I live my life, and, just how people interpret who they are.
The fourth Niue Arts and Cultural Festival will be held from the 10th to the 17th of April, and festival organisers are encouraging people to take ownership of this festival and be part of the activities. More than 30 local businesses have been nominated for the upcoming Niue Business Awards that will recognise the various contributions to developments within the private sector. The Niue Business Awards began in 2009 and is normally held every 2 years. Nominations for the 7 categories closed last week, and the Niue Chamber of Commerce have been busy preparing for the awards evening. That was delayed from last year due to the Niue Food Festival. According to Niue Chamber of Commerce Business Development Manager Felicity Boland, Niue is a fairly good economy and is continuing to grow. This year's Business Awards winners will also receive $1,000 and a framed certificate stating their award. The awards up for grabs are the Best New Business, Women in Business Award, the Hospitality, Food and Beverage Sector Award, Tourism Service Provider Sector Award, Retail's Trade and Services Sector Award, Customer Service Award, and the Supreme Award winner will get a return trip for two to New Zealand, sponsored by Air New Zealand and Pelini's Travel, and a 4-night stay at a scenic Matavai hotel in Auckland. In addition, a new award on offer this year is the Lifetime Services to Business Award in recognition of an individual or business that has helped shape the private sector. Some businesses have also commented that this time round the length of the nomination process and forms may have been a deterring factor to applying. However, Niue Chamber of Commerce Business Development Manager Felicity Boland said that this will be modified in future to generate more interest and nominations. Chamber encourages businesses struggling to approach their team if in need of help and the third Niue Business Awards will be held on the 7th of March at the scenic Matawai Resort. That concludes our news bulletin for this evening.